So I first heard about this group through my therapist. I was looking for an in-person support group. There are a lot of online support groups, but I wanted it to be in person so I could connect with people in my community. I knew my story was unique, and I wanted to be able to navigate my grief journey with people who are also experiencing loss. I loved this group so much that I ended up signing up for a second session.
Hi, I'm Jill. I was one of the facilitators for Facing the Mourning in Summit County. As death investigators, we are one of the first to experience the aftermath of death, not only the physical, but the emotional. Oftentimes, our role ends there. But grief doesn't end with the signature on a death certificate. That's when it begins. After the distractions are over of the mountain of paperwork, talking to banks, closing accounts, planning memorials, the friends stop calling and coming around so much. That's when the grief ends bare, and it can be really isolating. As death investigators, we deal with grief and death every day, but we're not immune to our own grief. We have our own stories of loss and death. We didn't just facilitate Facing the Mourning, we were also participants. We shared our stories of loss, and because we did that, the participants who became our people were able to lay down that shield of protection, and it was awe-inspiring how quickly people are just rawly honest and so vulnerable and invite us in to their stories. It's just an honor to witness, to be a part of, to experience it. We carry stories, not just of someone who died, but of those who are left behind and how they live. When we step into grief support, we bring a unique kind of empathy. It's grounded in truth, but it's softened by our own humanity, our compassion, our empathy, and our understanding. Grief is not a problem to solve. It's a journey to walk. It's an ocean full of waves to bear and to ride. And sometimes the ones who see the end are the best ones to help begin again.
My husband and I tragically lost our 24-year-old son about 4.5 years ago to fentanyl poisoning, and have been struggling through the grief process all these years, trying to kind of find that balance between living and grieving, which is a tricky dance. We had done quite a bit of grief therapy, primarily over the phone or Zoom. At the time we lost him, it was in the middle of COVID. Everything was not in person, and at the time I remember really craving an in-person experience. I just feel like the energy is different, and I felt like I needed that group hug. And my husband last spring came home with a flyer he had been given about a program being offered in the county called Facing the Mourning, and it was just 4 sessions, 4 weeks in person, and we both looked at each other and said, that sounds kind of good. Let's do it. And I personally love the fact that it was in person, a moment in our grief journey that we were maybe needing a bit more, and to go revisit all that. And so we were pretty excited, and I came and found myself very lit up by it. It was everything I had hoped. The group is small here, 6 to 8 folk perhaps, and I was amazed at how much change there was in all the participants from that first session to that last session. And the tears we had shared, the stories we shared, the immense reaching out to one another with thoughts that might have worked with one, that didn't work with one. It became not just the facilitator led, but it became a group. And everyone I think would have felt that same strength. Whoa, a lot of kinds of grief, a lot of different types of grief. I myself was very touched by it And in working with Britt and Jill, both from the coroner's office, I folded into doing some of the online training and beginning to help with the facilitating as well. And in watching now other groups, again, I'm fascinated by how much of an impact just those 4 sessions are. Like night and day for some of the people I felt like that were coming in feeling so lost and leaving feeling a path towards some joy. So very, very cool. It was really interesting that it was from the coroner's office. Britt and Jill were able to explain for that entity, they are seeing, oh my God, so much loss and dealing with those families and no real way that they had to help that loss. That the coroner's office has decided to take this, honor it, passionately care for it, support us so tremendously. I guess it also just brings this feeling of the county working together. In a way, the public and the coroner's office haven't normally really known each other or known much about each other. And this is a really interesting bridge and an amazing direction, I think, for the coroner's office to have decided to take in this county. So I love it.
My name is Christina and was in the very first grief group offered by the Summit County Coroner's Office. I'm here to say that this group helped me so much emotionally and spiritually. I came in very sad and left with peace of mind and hope. I'm very grateful for Jill and Britt in the Summit County Coroner's Office for offering this group. The tools given along with the support from the group changed my life. I hope that you too will find hope and support through this group.
My grandfather, my Grandpa Kenny, as we called him and everybody in our grief group called him, he died on September 13th of 2024. In my family, I'm known as the sensitive one. I'm known as the person that is always crying or the one that people lean on just because I'm in touch with my emotions, but sometimes almost too much. So after he died, for background, my Grandpa Kenny and I were very close. He helped raise me. My grandparents helped raise me. And I loved him a lot. After he died, I felt like I really didn't have anyone to turn to. I kind of was dumping it all on my fiance at the time. Now he's my husband. And I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be the person dragging him down all the time. So I was just scrolling on Facebook one day. I was actually at work and I saw a Facing the Mourning grief group poster. I believe somebody shared it in my Summit County Women's Connection Facebook group. And it really struck me because I had never really seen people talking about grief. And like I said, I felt like I had nowhere to turn, and it felt like somebody had just thrown out a life preserver and said, your grief matters and I want to hear about it. And that second, I emailed Britt, because her email was on the flyer, and I said, can I join? And she said, actually, we're full for this next one, but I'm putting you on the next one. And she replied immediately, and she was so kind in the email, and it made me feel like my grief mattered, and it made me feel like somebody wanted to listen to me. And I was really excited, and I started coming. I think it was April of this year, and it was about a month or two, and it changed my life. I was a little bit hesitant at first. I was excited. I signed up, but I was a little bit hesitant at the same time because I kept thinking about everybody in their life has lost a grandparent. Your grandparents are usually the first death that you experience. I'm really lucky. I was 29 and I had all 4 of my grandparents plus a step-grandma. So I had 5 grandparents, and who was I to get so upset over one person that had died when 2 of my best friends have fathers that died when they were little. So I felt like my grief didn't really matter, but I still felt like I had nowhere to go and thought I'd give it a shot. I walked in here and there were people of all ages. There were people my age. They were 80-year-old women. Not one time did a person tell me that my grief didn't matter. When I talked about Grandpa Kenny, they listened, they hugged me. I feel like I made lifelong friends with people that are 40 years older than me, and it was amazing. I felt like somebody was listening to me. I felt like my grief mattered. I felt like people wanted to hear about Grandpa Kenny. But I think one of the most amazing parts was that the people and the workers in the coroner's office participated. They actively participated. They did the homework. They brought photos of their loved ones. They cried. They were vulnerable. And it made me feel like I wasn't in a class, it made me feel like I was in a support group and we were all in this together. And I think the fact that they were coroners, or that they are coroners and they're involved in this and they participated, made it so much more impactful.